guys, it's Nik the Booksmith. Welcome back, welcome back. I hope everybody is doing great today. It is hotter than blue blazes out there, and I thought it was September, but I'm done. So what I was doing today, and you are welcome to come along if you wish, is I was putting together some Raggedy Signatures. And Raggedy Signatures are basically just like my Raggedy inserts that, oh, how long did we do that ago? Oh my goodness. I will put links below if you want to check out all of the Raggedy family. But today I wanted to make some Raggedy Signatures. And what's nice is you can put these together even before you start a cover or really know what direction you're going in. At least as far as I'm concerned, I have a similar style, a similar aesthetic that I usually gravitate toward. I know a lot of you are probably the same, or at least most of the time. So I'm going to put together some Raggedy Signatures, and I did this one just as an example. It has various papers sewn to other various papers. Just a whole lot of randomness, but kind of fun. This is a trade card that spins on a brad, and then this is from the printable glassine video that I did. Oh my goodness. If you haven't seen that, after you watch this, go watch the printable glassine video. It's kind of cool. I think you might enjoy it if you don't know what that is yet. But it's an envelope, but I attached it on this side, but it kind of flips out. And then the little trade card folds down and holds it in place. And then when I want to make a book, I will put my holes for sewing through that fold right there. And then I can sew it with the other signatures into a binding. So that's one. But I was going to make some more. Sound good? I have a pile of random stuff that was either leftovers from other projects or I don't know, stuff that just never got off the ground. You know how that goes, right? You know, you get the drill. This was the front of, well, it was a record book, probably gathered that much. There we go. And what I did was I scored it so that it would fold. It's not directly in half, but I didn't care. And then I scored here so that it could fold up like this, because what I wanted to do was create a folder out of it. And I'm going to sew the sides up. I will tack them with just a tiny bit of glue. Just a little bit. Just to hold it until I actually do the sewing. This one has a rip in it, which, I mean, isn't a big fat hairy deal, but since I have some of this grungy tape that I've made, and if you don't know how to make the grungy old masking tape, I will put the link to that video that is, oh, probably 3 years old at least, maybe more, down below. And you can go check out, if you wish, how to make this grungy tape. Kind of fabulous is an idea from a subscriber that contacted me and said, hey, you can make grungy looking tape like this, and told me how to do it. And I did it and it worked, so I shared it with all you guys because they said I could. There we go. That just gives it a little bit more structural integrity, at least so it won't end up ripping anymore, I hope, because this is pretty ancient paper. But just to barely tack it in place, and then I will go and sew that. So I could do the same as I did with this one and create a folder kind of slash signature with the pages either like these are sewn to the back of this folder type thing, or we could just stack paper in there just like you would any other signature, like just some regular, this is just some tea stained paper, nothing fancy. And I mean, it can just be laid in there just like regular pages would be. And then you'd also have little pockets on either end. And then when it goes to adding the signature to the book, then you would treat this like you would any signature and poke these station holes in the very center through all of the pages. So that could be done. And I do have this. So this was just a manila folder that I covered with a printout. And this was also from another video. This is a freebie printout. I'll put that information to that video. And if you go to that video, then it has the links to where that freebie is. And then on the back of that, with the front of an old notebook, and I used a piece of a green file folder, and I covered it with a map. It's the map, it's the map. And then this one could also be stacked just like, you know, like a regular signature. And then it could be flipped over like this, and you could open this one, and it could be its own signature. Here's some papers. And we could stack these together. There's another piece of that tape and another, just a regular piece of tea stained paper. And then this could be stacked inside of this one. And that way, when you came to this signature, you could open it up and there would be paper. And then you'd close this side and then there would be another signature to open. So that might be a, you know, kind of a cool thing, right? Might as well make it interesting if we're gonna bother to do it. I have this one. This was the front of a like blank music writing tablet. I've got some more folded up papers, and we could just stack these together, and they could go in here as well. This is a piece of this, which is a very old tape measure, and I just made a page tab and sewed that on kind of messy there. And so I can maybe just leave that one the way it is. I'm not keen on just this paper in here. I don't know, it's just kind of meh. I do have this. This was also some of that printable glassine DIY stuff from that video that I referenced earlier. And that could be added as like a little extra flip out thing. I have that. And I have that. Oh, and I gotta show you this. Came across this gem while I was looking for stuff. That is me and my brother. I think I was 11. And if you think I look like Bonnie Bedelia from the first Die Hard movie, you wouldn't be wrong. That's funny. Anyway. All right. So these are Rolodex cards that I had glued them together at some point for some reason or another. I don't know what it was, but here they are. And this one has a little envelope. Not exactly sure what I was going for with that, so. And some handwritten equations from an old textbook that might need some tape on them, right? Let's use some of this tape and tape this back together, because you know, the handwritten stuff, and this was written with a fountain pen of some kind, because I can tell by looking at the ink. I mean, it was probably written 80, 90 years ago. You can't pass that up. People who aren't people like us, because, you know, people like us were weird, but most people would just throw that away. They wouldn't even give it a second thought to toss a piece of paper that had been folded up in an old textbook with equations from who knows why. They don't need them. But, and it's a big but, we know better, don't we? Not an easy thing to recreate something this fabulous, as far as I'm concerned. I really, really dig the old, original, authentically old stuff. It was a moment in time for someone who is no longer living on this earth, and I don't know, it was important enough to this person to write these equations down for whatever reason, rather than it going in the trash, never to be seen again. It could be added to some kind of a book, journal, something, and appreciated. Not everybody will appreciate this kind of thing, but we do. And we're all that matters at this moment, because that's what we're talking about. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. And then that way, when you open this up, it's got, I don't know, it's something interesting as opposed to just a blank piece of paper staring you in the face, which is fine, but not today, not on my watch. I have some pages from an Edgar Allan Poe book that is long since fallen apart, but I saved the pages because that's what I do. This is from The Murders in the Rue Morgue. I'm going to take this glue stick, this massive glue stick, and I shall add this in here to kind of just line the inside of this boring little folder. And I'll just trim off these little corners and match the rounded corners that the folder had, just to, they'll get ripped off anyway if I don't. So there we go. I think that's just kind of cool. I think it's a little more interesting than just blankness. Although blankness can be great, because then a person could write whatever they wanted on the blankness. But that ship has sailed now, so I'm just going to add another thing. We're gilding the lily, such as it is. I haven't even decided what I'm going to be doing with the cover yet. But it doesn't matter. So then here is this signature. I can sew it in using holes put into that fold. And then this one, these pages will just be sewn into this fold, but not bound into the spine or anything. They'll just be hanging out, being the cool kids on the opposite side. I might sew the sides of this library pocket to this. I don't know. I'm still thinking about that. So one thing you got to think about is when you do sewing on pages, it will add some bulk. You have to keep that in mind and take it into consideration, just in case that might become an issue. I do have this page tab. And I might sew it and I might not. I don't know. I usually kind of put everything together and then I decide what's going to be sewn on the sewing machine before it gets bound into the book. So there's another one. And these will probably get either torn shorter or folded up something. I just haven't decided what's going to happen with those yet. This was part of a dust jacket. Perhaps this can get sewn or attached somewhat to the back of this. And then it could also kind of be maybe like a pocket or like a tuck spot to, you know, to tuck stuff. So I will give it just a little bit of glue to tack it for the time being. Like that, and then I can sew it if I want to, but it does have a little pocket here, but there's still places to write. And then I can decide if I want to either tack this down and make a pocket out of it, or just leave it and it could still be a tuck spot. We will see. But I think we need more writing space in the middle of this one. And perhaps I will just trim this off. Even is the right day, September 6th. I'm filming this on the 6th, so I don't know when it'll get uploaded because I got to edit. And the editing is, wow, that takes the longest amount of time right there because I mess up a lot. Look at this. I don't know if these are little mouse bites or if I mean, it kind of looks like little tooth marks. It is from August 12th, 1970. It is minutes from the Macedonia Water Association. Whatever, I don't know what state that's from. There's probably several Macedonias. I don't know which one it is. Can't throw that away. Way too interesting. So there we go. Some writing space. Some of the signatures will have more sewing and raggediness to them than others. And sometimes I sew on them now, but then other things do get added to them later as well. It all comes together at the end. I try not to be too much of a fuss about it. I try to let it all go with the flow. And I don't mind if little things poke out here and there. It just gives it a little bit extra character. I think we need to use this, however. If we can use perhaps some of this old paper. I could fold it like this, so it'd be easier to write on. Not that that really matters. At least it doesn't really matter to me. I don't know, does it matter to you guys? Do you have a preference? Let me know. And then, let's see. Definitely goes in this direction, usually does, the grain. It is ancient paper regardless, so it's not going to be real sturdy. I mean, look how easily it just kind of disintegrates. But it's still kind of cool regardless, so you can always reinforce it with something. Then it'll just look like it was taped back together back in the day. There we go, we'll just fake it. Maybe it'll look legit. It was reinforced a long time ago, but it will help it hold up. That tape will help it. It's not going to have a whole lot of wear and tear on it because it's going to be inside of another one, so it'll be all right. But before I would put this in the book, I would do the sewing for sure on those edges. So I just sewed on both sides just to close that up. And this was a scrap of paper next to my sewing machine, so I just sewed that in too, instead of throwing it away. And this can be placed inside there. And of course we can do more. I still have quite a bit of this tape left, and it could be sewn on and turned into another page tab turn that in like this and sew it all at the same time. That work? Sure, you say. That'll work. Just give it a little bit extra texture there. We could add that on. I hope I'm not boring everybody. This isn't horribly exciting or anything. I don't know. I hope at least this is, if not educational, I don't know. Maybe it's helpful. I just hadn't done one of these videos in a long time and figured maybe it was time to do that. Okay, I'm gonna go sew this on. When I sewed it, I went all the way through and over to the other side. And I should probably put another piece of paper in there just for writing on. I want there to be enough pages to write on, but not too many that it makes it look too plain, because that's not what I'm going for this one. I went ahead and sewed that little tab and then around the library pocket. And then I have this one that we already talked about. And I'll just have to decide what order I want these in. I might even do a couple more signatures. I will make sure to update you on that. I like the little tabs sticking out. I just need some more on the lower side, on the lower portion. This is a good start. I'd like to have twice this many signatures probably, or at least add more paper to the middle. I love this. Don't mention this, as Jim doesn't know it. We'll enclose Ralph's letter. I have no idea what he's talking about or she's talking about, but we're not supposed to tell Jim, so just keep that to yourself. All right, guys. Well, I think I've taken up way too much of your time today as it is, but it was great getting to hang out with you a little bit. I hope everybody is doing well and staying cool wherever you are in the world. I will get all of these signatures compiled and I'll put it in a book-like structure. I'll do something. Haven't really decided on that one yet, but I'm sure a plan will materialize at some point. I hope you enjoyed watching me put these together, and maybe a little bit of what I did was helpful or maybe sparked some inspiration for you and your pile of scraps that you might have. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all really, really soon in the next video. Bye, guys.